Hello, welcome to Mr. Paul's Pantry. I'm Mr. Paul and it's nice to be here with you all again. If you're new, a very warm welcome. Now it's early, it's just about 7 o'clock this morning and it's very miserable outside. It's wet, it's rainy and it's been very windy all night. So I'm going to go into the kitchen now. I'm just finishing a cup of tea. I'm going to go in the kitchen and I'm going to start today's recipe, which is for succulent pork steaks. Okay, it's a very nice, easy recipe, and it's using a very cheap cut of meat, which I'll explain to you a little later on. So I'll finish my cup of tea, go into the kitchen, get sorted out, and I'll see you in a minute. So first of all, before we do anything else, I'll just show you the meat I'm going to use. I've called them pork steaks. They call them different things in different parts of the country. It's actually pork cut from the shoulder, okay? From the shoulder. In sheep, you would buy it and it would be called best end of neck of lamb, best end of lamb, things like that. This is, in Spain, it's called chuleta de cabeza, which means chops cut near the head. And you can see it's got a nice little bit of marbling on there. It's not a lot of fat. It's got no back fat on it, and they will cook nice and juicy and tender. But before we do that, before we put them in the pan, what we've got to do is we have to season them slightly, and it's very lightly, the seasoning. Don't use more than probably half a teaspoon on one side, and then a good seasoning of black pepper. And turn them over, and we'll do exactly the same on the other side. A good seasoning of black pepper. Now they're going to go in the pan with about a tablespoonful of oil, and we're going to seal them, brown them, like you do when you're making a stew with the beef. What we're actually going to do is caramelize the sugar on the surface of the meat. That's what gives it its flavour. It's nothing to do with sealing in the juices or anything like that. That's a lot of nonsense. What it's doing, it's burning the sugar. That's what caramel is. It's burnt sugar. And that's happening on the surface of the meat, giving you the flavour. So we'll get those in the pan and we'll carry on. These are browning now, and they will take probably about 6 or 7 minutes totally, but I'll have to turn them once during that time. So there we are, the onions are browning nicely. I beg your pardon, the chops are browning nicely, and I'm going to lift them out of the pan, put them to one side. A little more oil in the pan I'm going to put now, probably about another tablespoonful, that's all. And next in the pan go the onions. Well, I've actually got one large chopped onion there, okay? And once the onions are in, give them a good stir. And then add the mushrooms. There we are, mushrooms going in. Give them a good stir now, and we need to cook those for about 5 minutes, just until the onions start to soften a little bit. We don't need to cook them through, but we just need to soften them a little bit. That way they'll absorb all the flavours that we're going to put in next. So there was some salt and some pepper at this stage. There we are. I like to use freshly ground pepper, but if you have some ground pepper, just put a good pinch. So next goes in the garlic. I've got 3 chopped cloves there, but depending how much you like the garlic, you can adjust that to suit yourself. Mix that around for 1 minute now, or probably not quite a minute, but don't walk away and leave it, because garlic does tend to burn sometimes, and it's quite a bitter taste when that happens. So once we've got the garlic incorporated after about half to 1 minute, then we're going to add the flour. This is ordinary plain all-purpose flour. This is going to help thicken the sauce and give it a nice smooth texture when we've finished. Get all that incorporated, and what we're going to add next is the stock. Pour the stock in and give that a good mix. Always keep it moving and try and keep it well incorporated, then we don't get any lumps. Now, once we've got the stock in there, the next thing going to go in is the tomato paste, followed by the white wine vinegar, and that's a very small amount. It's only like half a tablespoon, but it really makes a big difference to the dish, I can assure you. Mix all that, make sure it's incorporated, and there's just one last ingredient we're going to put in there now to make the creamy sauce, and that is cream itself. I'm using single cream here, by the way. You can use either, whichever you want, but I find single cream gives me the nice effect that I'm looking for at the end of the day. Here we go. About 50 millilitres, that's all. You don't need a lot. Give it a good stir. And what we need to know now is bring that to the boil. That's very important. Bring it to the boil. There we go. It's nicely incorporated. Now just look at that beautiful, delicious, creamy sauce. Just keep it on the move. Make sure it doesn't stick. Now at this stage, when we've got there and it's thickened up nicely, we're going to put back in the pork back into the sauce, and any juices that have come off while it's been resting there. So we're going to just put that in there, and we're going to leave that now on a very, very low simmer. Just turn it right down on a very low simmer for about another 10 or 15 minutes. So the pork's cooked through. Here we are. Now how good does that look? Looks absolutely beautiful. That beautiful sauce there. Absolutely gorgeous. So here we have the nice juicy pork steaks. And next, last but not least, some of this delicious sauce that we made. Mushroom sauce. There it is. I think you'll agree that's a very nice meal tonight. Well, that's all I have time for today. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, go underneath, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, do so please. It all helps my subscriptions. And if you have any comments, questions or suggestions, leave those underneath also please. Okay? It's Mr. Paul saying bye for now, and I'll see you next time. Bye!